Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Yes Life podcast, where we share channeled thoughts, discussions, and interviews on what it takes to go from dreaming and wishing to actively living your yes life. I am Kaela Jetta. I'm one of your co-hosts, along with the best partner a girl could ask for, my mom, Lisa Limata, who records the other weeks of the episodes that I'm not on. And today, before I get to my very special guest, who you all are going to drool over, I just know it, I have a really exciting announcement. Okay, we have been keeping something under wraps for a while, and as of today is officially out in the public. I wrote a book, y'all. How cool is that? I know, it's so fun. So I wrote a book. It's officially available. You can head on over to Amazon, give it a Google. It's the same name as this podcast. It's called Live Your Yes Life. So we would love for you to go get the book, read it, enjoy it, and then come on over to our Facebook group, also by the same name. We make it real easy. Everything is Live Your Yes Life. The book, the podcast, the Facebook group, and get in conversation with us. Okay, so now without further ado, I need to introduce today's guest. You are gonna fall fast in love like I did the first time that I heard Nikki Kimbrough speak. So you all, I asked Nikki to send me a bio, and she sent me a lengthy bio, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can try to trim it down. I cannot, because anything I try to trim, I'm like, no, they need to know this. They need to get the full Nikki. So I am going to read you Nikki's bio, and I want you to be able to really hear about who this amazing woman is, okay? So Nikki Kimbrough lights up the fitness world with over 20 years of expertise and is the CEO and founder of Get Fit with Nick Incorporated. This Richmond native began her fitness journey as a national spokesperson for Bally Total Fitness to inspiring audiences on top TV shows like The Steve Harvey Show, Good Morning America, The Today Show, while contributing to publications like Time Inc., Essence, and Fitness Magazine. With her guiding principle of finding your fit, Nikki empowers individuals to find what makes them feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Drawing from her experience as a former NCAA and professional long jumper, she infuses her work with the determination of an elite athlete, sparking motivation through her popular HIIT with Nick class. Now, it's not done yet, y'all. Beyond fitness, this Broadway performer's passion for encouraging and nurturing talent extends to creating extraordinary theater experiences for youth as the executive director and owner of the Harlem All-Stars Theater and Group. And she's a mentor for Rosie's Theater Kids. Nikki made her Broadway debut as Etta James and a Joplinaire in A Night with Janis Joplin. She also sings with Tony-nominated powerhouse Orfeh and Tony and Emmy winner Kristen Chenoweth. A proud University of Virginia alumnus and a Lululemon ambassador, Nikki holds a BA in English and an MA in Public Relations. Nikki leveraged her diverse background to establish Kimbrough & Company Incorporated, an entertainment and production company that turns the creative's ideas into reality where the vision takes center stage. As the executive producer of the Ladies First Chit Chat Crew talk show, streaming on Red Coral Universe, she continues to make waves in the industry. Based in vibrant New York City, Nikki's relentless determination inspires others to tackle life challenges with unwavering resilience. She takes solace in knowing that God always has her back. With her infectious energy, she motivates her clients with a simple yet powerful message. Don't you quit, find your fit, come rock with Nick. So, I mean, give it up for Nikki Kimbrough, everybody.
It's funny to hear it read out loud.
And I had to say the whole thing because I'm like, how do I not tell them that, you're a professional athlete, Lululemon ambassador, Broadway performer? Like, how do we leave any of this out? We can't.
Oh, Kaela, congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
Amazing. I was over here like waving my arms like that is so awesome. I love, love, love. You just inspired me. I've been wanting to do that myself. And so I do a little writing every morning, like, could this be something? Maybe.
I think so. I think that we need a book from you. Just after reading your bio, I'm like, we need a lot. We need more and more because there is a lot here. Okay, this is amazing. So I am so excited. We like to always start out by asking folks, like, what's the thing that you really wanted to be a yes for? And let us start there because there's been a lot of things that you've been a yes. But what has been one of the big things that just really called you when you said, I've got to have that for myself?
Recently, look, I'm already getting emotional. Um, yes for me. Yes for my time. Yes for who I am as a person. I'm a, as you know, I'm in a business of service and I give, 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 give. And I've had so many amazing people give to me. I've also made some mistakes as an entrepreneur lately. And I honestly wasn't practicing what I'm preaching. I was beating myself up. And then finally I just said, you need to say yes to you. Look at what you're doing. Let's give to you. Let's be kind to you. Yes, you've made some mistakes, and let's give yourself grace as we remedy these mistakes and also be kind to yourself. So let's say yes to you. If you would have asked me a month ago, I would have said something tangible or, or a big goal that I have that I'm working on right now. But right now, in this present moment, the biggest thing I've done is say yes to me. And I realized that I was not doing that. Yes to everyone else and not myself. And that's just total opposite of what I'm preaching, right?
Wow. I mean, and thank you for naming that because I know that there are some folks that listen to me read your bio and we're like, just jaw drop, right? Like she is doing the most. And then to get this permission of, and we have to be a yes to ourselves is
We
really
do.
powerful.
We do. We do. I mean, it's the only way that we can keep going and saying the yeses to the things that we really want. I'm realizing if I'm not saying yes to me, showing myself grace, finding my own fit. I say I help people find their fit, find what makes them feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I had to take a huge pause and say yes to finding my fit and what makes me feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So
And
yeah.
okay, I've heard you tell a little story about a time when that happened. You were in a dressing room. Will you share about that experience? Because that like stopped me in my tracks hearing you share that story.
I won't cry this time, Kayla. When I said it, I couldn't believe it. It was the first time I like shared that story out loud. I was like, oh my God, people gonna think I'm crazy. I was in the Bloomingdale's dressing room. Bloomingdale's is like my place. Like when I need to brainstorm, I will walk around Bloomingdale's on Lexington and 59th Street in Manhattan. But I was in Bloomingdale's and I walked into the dressing room and I turned around and I looked in the mirror and I jumped and I paused and I said, who is that? And I got real close into that mirror and I said, who is that? All I saw was this woman in the mirror. She, yeah, I gained some weight, of course, but that wasn't it. I looked tired. Um, I looked so tired. I looked mean. I felt like I wasn't cute. No, I'm cute, I'm cute. But I looked tired. My cheeks were puffy, my eyes, and I just looked so angry and just sad and depleted. And I didn't even recognize myself. And all of a sudden tears filled up in my eyes and I was like, "Girl, look at you. You are not putting you first. You over here preaching to everybody else finding their fit, and you haven't even found your own fit." And it was at that moment I said, "You need to take a pause. We got to recalibrate. We get to rebuild, and let's fill our cup up." We hear the whole thing. We give from our cup, and there's so much that I do give. That there's plenty on the saucer, but I've been given so much from the cup that it was that moment in that dressing room that I paused and said, you got to say yes to you. And I know people hear that all the time, but it was so, Kayla, it was so like punching me in the face, like, girl, what are you doing? And it was just a very emotional moment for me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I am sure that a lot of our listeners can resonate where we know something and yet all of a sudden one day we're like, wow, how am I so far away from where I intended to be?
Yeah, I mean, I was so far away and it was crazy. And I also Also saying yes to me. I know there are probably tons of listeners out here. At that moment too, I was in a relationship that I'd been in for over 12 years that wasn't servicing me anymore. My old boyfriend and I broke up, and we were still living together because we're in Manhattan. And at that moment when I saw myself in that mirror, I went home and went, oh, I can't do this anymore. And my not my big brother, my little brother, Robert Hartwell, who that's how
Who
we
we
know
love
each other,
now.
said to me, girl, you act like you don't have options. And it's the best thing you could have ever said to me. And so that was playing with me too. And it was at that moment I was saying yes to everything. Yes to me, yes to me, and yes to me. And I used to feel like, is that me being selfish? No, because I can't give and do what I like to do and what brings me joy by supporting and working with people if I'm not giving back to myself. So,
That's a really powerful statement when we're acting like we don't have options. And I think about how often we do that. We think like whatever I'm staring at is what I have. So tell me about some of the challenges that you've been up against as you have shifted into see, okay, I do have options. Like what's been hard about that?
um, ooh, ooh, got a little ping. I always say I get a ping when I feel like, ugh. The hardest part was I went back home to Richmond, Virginia. I'm back in New York again, but when I made some not good decision. I'm not gonna say I didn't make the decision. I took some risk,
Uh-huh.
and I take risk all the time. I mean, my friends say Nikki's the one that jumps out. People jump out with parachutes. I jump out with the backpack. I have no parachute. When Robert was thinking about buying this house, one of our friends said, "Well, I don't know." This one said, "We'll do it when this time," and I said, "Do it now." I'm that girl. I take the risk, and this time I took a couple of risks. And not that the risk have failed, have always come through. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. These two did not. And I took big risk. And the problem this time when I took the risk, when it didn't come to fruition, what was different this time, I didn't have the capital to offset it. Whereas before, if there was a mistake, I had capital to offset it. I didn't have the capital to offset. So in the process of my business, felt like at the moment it was crumbling. And then my relationship was crumbling. And the one thing that I knew that I had good friends and I had God behind me. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. When I go home on December 24th, I sang with Orphe the day before. I packed all my stuff up, put it in a storage unit. I got on a plane and I said to myself, God, I'm going to take care of the what and I'm going to let you take care of the how. I'm going home. And I couldn't believe it. I've been living in New York City since 2002, and I could not believe that I was going home. But I went home, and it ended up being the best thing I could do. At first, I said, "Am I going backwards?" And I was like, "No, you staying in this toxic space and not giving yourself space to recalibrate what happened so you can rebuild is not going to be good for you." So I said yes, and just the question you asked me, what was the hardest part? It was going back home because I felt like, am I going backwards? Am I letting myself down? But I was like, no, I'm going home to a place where I'm loved and I have space to think. I have space to rest. And let me tell you something, Kayla, it was the best thing I could have done. I was only there I ended up taking 31 days off of work. I've never done that before in my life. Like I had no Zoom, 31 days. And at first I thought I was like, oh my God, I always thought I could never do that. It was the best thing I did, saying yes to me. Because then Lululemon brought me back to New York. It was February, it was Black History Month. So, I had to come
You
for the
had to.
had to
Yes.
come for the Black History. And so when I got back to New York, I realized, okay, I'm back. And I was back and forth for a while. And then March, I was totally back in New York City. But it was the recalibration and rebuilding that I need. So, yeah, the hardest part was going back home, but then getting there and thanking God and realizing it was the best option for me at the time. Yeah.
Okay, this is so good. So I imagine that somebody's listening and for a moment, and we're going to bust this up. For a moment, they might feel validated and like, well, that's why I don't take big risks, right? Because we don't always have the capital. We don't always work out. But I just know that that's not you, that you are like, and I'm going to take a risk again. So talk to the person that is like, see, this is why I can't take risks because sometimes I don't have the backing.
So I will tell you this. I'm gonna take plenty of more risk. And I've taken more risk that have turned out amazing. Moving to New York City years ago, one of the biggest risks I took, and it turned out amazing. Just this time, let me tell you what I didn't do, y'all. And they always say you have your five senses: your hearing, your smell, your touch, all the stuff. My friend Crystal always says this to me. And there's a sixth sense, your gut. I've taken risk before, and I have this body clock. Um, Rachel Rogers always talks about this body clock. Susan Hyatt always talks about this body clock. And my body clock, if it is going up towards my neck and out of my head, that means it's good. If it's stopping in the middle, it means maybe we need to take a beat, we need to breathe, we need to think. If it's going down to the pit of my stomach, down to my toes, that means let's veto. Let's not like this is not it. The other risk I took, it was either a pause and I had to think about it, or it was coming through like, let's do it, let's do it. These two risks that I took, it was in the pit of my stomach saying, no, 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 no. And when you hit a road bump, but you're supposed to go past it, and you hit another road bump, but you're like, I got courage, I'm gonna keep going past it. These roadblocks were different. And I wasn't every time I was not listening to my gut. I was not listening to my gut. It was not fear. It was not fear. It was God telling me, look, no, bitch.
Like, this is not for you. That seems to me like kind of being defiant. Like, I can hear the no, but I'm gonna push through just to prove that I can, and it never works,
That's
but we
exactly
get
what
in it.
happened. I allowed my ego to get in the way.
Uh-huh.
I allowed my ego to get in the way. And yeah, we're confident and we're going to keep. The other time I made the risk, I was confident about it. This time it was the gut saying no, 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 and I knew everything was no, but my ego was like, well, I've already said it, I've already put it out there, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna keep going. And guess what? It crashed and burned twice. The first one burned real hard. The second one burned real, real, real hard. And then in the midst of it, I'm going through a major breakup. So I just thought the world was coming to an end, but it wasn't. All this is for the best. Let me tell you what did come out of taking the risk, y'all. And this is why I'm going to keep taking risk. I now know that my gut is so powerful. I am so powerful. You are so powerful. And don't doubt that. Don't doubt that. And the other thing is, by going through these mishaps, I do think it was supposed to happen because it caused me to put my house in order. Sometimes, as an entrepreneur, I've been a solopreneur for so long. Now I have a team. Let me allow the people that I've hired on my team or outsourced on my team do the things that aren't my zone of genius. You know what I'm saying? You have these people around you. Still, yeah, you're the CEO. You make the decision. You definite about it. But get your advisors that you look up to, that you speak to. Don't be afraid. Let that ego go and ask them and ask for help. If I would have asked for help, that risk may have turned into something different. However, like I said, it was supposed to happen like this because I now have put everything in order, and I now know who to talk to. I know who to reach to. I'm very clear on what my zone of genius is. And yeah, it ended up being a blessing. Ended up being the best blessing.
Of course, of course, and thank you for your courage to stick with it all the way through to get to the blessing. I think that's where so many people lose it, is like the ship starts sinking and we just jump overboard instead of seeing how it's like, oh, okay, it was meant to sink so we could get to this other experience that I just wouldn't have seen. So you've already blessed us with so many just nuggets of wisdom, but tell me about like a not so secret ingredient for success that you're like, I want everyone to know about this because it just really served you on your path.
Um, a not so secret ingredient that has served me on my path. I would have to say believe it in me. I everything. Oh, about to cry. Believe it in me, and two things: realizing that we all have bandwidths, and sometimes those bandwidths reach variety of capacities, and that's okay. And maybe a partner or a friend or someone or a business partner may reach a capacity that they can't take something anymore. That's okay. Then acknowledge that and know that this has been good for this time, because you have a capacity as well. So my thing, what I'm trying to say is we all deserve grace. And just remember that sometimes we have this bandwidth and we reach different capacities. And your friends, business partners, people you're around, we all have these variety of capacities, and we get to respect that and learn what works for us and what doesn't. The other thing is believing in me. Believing in me. It's, I think sometimes I was doing things and looking for validation and looking for other people to believe in me. Like I pour into people. I pour into people. I love people. My mom said I've been like this since I was a kid. I love people. But it was during this time I realized it only works if I believe in God and I believe in me. And if I believe in me, then it's gonna happen. That's what I'm telling people. Believe in you. Do we have these doubts? Do we have these like, oh yeah? And sometimes, people start talking. During the pandemic, I became a big. I mean, not pandemic. During the time I was off, I, I became a Peloton fan, and I told myself I wasn't going to join the Peloton cult, and I wasn't going to join the Gabby Bernstein cult. I ended up joining both.
As a member of both, welcome.
And enjoyed it both. And what does Gabby always say? Choose again. So that's what I've been doing lately. It's just choosing again. And as a result of choosing again, Kaela, I can say yes. I can say yes. I can't wait to read your book. I can say yes. I can say yes. I can say yes to taking risk again. First of all, I can say yes to me. I can say yes to taking risk again. And also, I can say yes to believing in me. Because guess what? If you don't believe in you, what did RuPaul say? If you don't love yourself, who the hell is, if you don't believe in you, who's going to,
Yeah.
And that's what's important. That's how we say yes, by believing in ourselves no matter what, during the ups and the downs.
Amen. And here's what I know is that when we believe in ourselves, like you said, it always, always, always works out. Not always how we thought. It often looks different. It's like, oh, surprise, it looks so different than I thought. Because our job is not to micromanage it. Our job is not to like orchestrate the how and take it on a leash with us. It is just to stay committed to the what,
Right.
right?
Well, I love what you just said. It's to stay committed to the what, and God, the universe, whomever, they'll take care of the how. They'll take care of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah. This is brilliant. Okay, people are going to say, how do I get some more Nick? So where do they go? How do they connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram at Get Fit with Nick. That's GetFitWithNik. Get Fit with Nick. You can also, I have a show called the Ladies First Chit Chat Crew, where we provide a space for women to evaluate where they stand, and we inspire them to take action. I started this 3 years ago when the pandemic happened, and I brought in like three of my big sister mentors and then one of my clients. We have this great show on Red Coral Universe. It's a new streaming platform. You go to redcoraluniverse.com, type in the Ladies First Chit Chat Crew. You will see us. And you can also find me on my website, www.getfitwithnick.com. So I got a lot of good things coming up, y'all. I got to shout out my girl, Tamika Rochester, my fellow Lululemon sister. We just did this big event called Redefining Your Wellness by Finding Your Fit Over 40. So follow me so you can see
Woo!
Redefining Your Wellness by Finding Your Fit Over 40. And we brought in all these people, and it was just an amazing event an amazing weekend, and we were all just crying and laughing and snotting and
Oh, that sounds
yeah.
magical.
And and this is what we did real quick. We had one of our panels was one of our days was about physical and mental, and then we did emotional and financial, and then we did sexual and spiritual. So we hit all the points.
Wow, that sounds delicious.
I
I am
know.
obsessed. I want people to follow you in all of the places. Thank you. Thank you for being a yes to you, for being a yes to sharing you with us, for staying the path. And even though you've had so many peak experiences in your life, continuing to say, and there's more, and there's more. And I will follow the path because more is here for me.
There is more. And Kayla, you've inspired me. There's a book inside. There's a book in here.
Yes, there is. Yes, please get on that, y'all. I can't wait to tell you more about the book journey as it continues to unfold. And I know there is a book inside of you. So I am so grateful. To our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Please go follow Nikki in all of the places that she is. Make sure you get in our Facebook group, that you get the book, same name as the podcast, Live Your Yes Life. And P.S., I'm interviewing Nikki in our Facebook group soon, so you can actually come and interact with her live. So be sure that you tune in for that as well. Thank you so much, Nikki. It's been so awesome.
Thank you. Congratulations again. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.